Communication. So I'm sure you saw this picture flying around the internet a bit. So you see a little hand. Can you see that? She's grabbing the finger of a surgeon. Well, communication basically is one of the senses of the human being. We have never recognized that, so we always call the five senses. Tell me, how come that the animals and insects have created the eyes to do what? What do they do with their eyes? Why has that been invented? It was not on the first cell. Now, this is not a religious topic. What was the reason to have eyes? Any smart answer?
I know the answer, so I won't say.
So I'll check on that one now. Can you write it on a piece of paper? And because he has been in too many conferences, so there are smart answers. To do what? Why do we have eyes? What's the purpose of the eyes? The prime purpose. In the meantime, we have diverted the eyes to do many things, but to see what? So I just wanted to wake you up a little bit. So it's good to ask questions. Any good idea? Why aren't we asking this question every day?
Mobility is also a good idea, like mobility, yes.
It's close. Mobility to what?
Food.
Right.
Survival.
Yeah, to see food, yeah. That's all. And this kid is grabbing a hand. What is he signaling? I know it's the age they have to, hang to something and so on, but basically he's communicating his existence. If he was dead, he would not be able to do that. Huh? So through time, we have spread from whatever Africa or whatever region around the world, and we cut communication among each other. And that's why we started to hate each other as well, because we couldn't communicate. As a matter of fact, most of the communication was wrong communication. So it took a long time, to get some start of the communication among each other, so we started understanding and talking to each other. And the internet is one little thing, but just the beginning. So it's lack of communication which is most probably the reason for many of the misunderstandings we have. No? So next time when somebody says something wrong about you, just call him and talk. Even if it's right what he said, he will still apologize. And most probably you get the perception he's not that bad at all. No? And most probably become even better friends. So it's quite an important exercise in front of us. So some of the issues that we are still struggling with is to make the internet still work. Whatever you want to invent a new one or a better one, but still, we have spent billions of dollars to make the internet function. And the routing is the most interesting thing because it's an autonomic system. It works by itself. You're not going to push something out to make it work and so on. It just works. So. But we are running out of resources. We have this exhausting debate when the address space is going to run out, and it has already run out, and we're not doing much about it. And I don't see many research projects looking at this issue as well. Then one of the last stats from Jeff Houston, who was watching the address space, so he thinks between now and 2014, we need some 800 million IP addresses just to run the current internet. So if we don't move to V6, we have to create these addresses, which move the entire world into what is called CGN. So moving that from end user into the ISP, and then we'll not share any more IP addresses, but we share ports. When you start sharing ports, you kill many applications, like Google Maps. So Google Maps needs about 250 to 256 ports in order to get the image down at the same time. That's using a software called Juxta, which kind of plays the QoS type of role. So we don't need really bandwidth, a lot of bandwidth in order to get the proper internet They can use software now to do that. And by reducing the number of ports per person, so currently everyone will get about 50. So basically Google Map will not work in the future. So that's most probably the end of net neutrality. So if you want to have proper internet, you have to pay for it. So this is what's going on now. So this is why we have to push V6 in order to fix this. I guess you have heard these stats. It just pumped up from the air. 50 billion, it's like we have 5 now, multiplied by 10, so it sounds good. But there is no reasoning behind it, because we don't know where it's going to be connecting these devices and through what and so on. When you look at the study of Ericsson, it's not founded on anything. But the Americans, they do proper analysis. So they see potential of not Internet of Things, but Internet of everything. So this is where you have the automated factories, all kind of services that we have today on the Internet, but not in the real space Internet. So the Internet is moving to all kind of technologies, be it in the medical sector or the supply chain and so on. And they value that business at $14.4 trillion. That's basically the entire budget of the US government per year. And this by 2022. So this is really what's at stake. And this is where most probably our researchers have to see how much of the piece Europe should cut out of this one. Otherwise, it will be on the other side of the Atlantic. So we have invited some good speakers to tell us about this stuff. I think we have a little change. One of the speakers are going to this one. Gabriele Ruffati. So, Director of Research at a famous industry organization called Engineering. I think you have your slides here.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very proud to be here. I'm not here to talk about technology, but about suggestion, vision, what are, for me, the core issues. I'm in the Technical Innovation and Research Division of Engineering Group. Engineering is the major IT software and services company in Italy, greatly involved in European projects. You can see that it is one of the core partners of Fitman initiative. And at engineering, I work with the European projects, but also I'm very close to the industry. So my speech is more about what industry needs. And I'm also president of OW2 Consortium. I'm the focal point of open source in engineering. And OW2 Consortium is the only global open source community that is based in Europe rather than in United States. Also involved in European projects, especially when we deal with cloud technologies. I think all of you knows what open source is. Let's say, what I want to say is that we are in the era where there is a convergence of many events. The first one, we are in the era of digital economy, of course. This is a very old picture by Forrester. Forrester is one of the premier IT analysts. Someone says that we are not just in a digital economy, we are inside a digital tsunami. You know, you read in the newspaper these days about PRISM project, Big Father, a lot of issues about loss of privacy and security. But all people in this room know that IT is the major competitive differentiator in the IT industry. And now digital economy gave a great opportunity. Gartner says that we are at the time where the nexus of 4 forces are driving innovation as much. The first one is cloud computing. Cloud is a new way to acquire technology, of course, but it's also the carrier for all the other elements in this picture. Mobile. Mobile asks industry to complete redesign IT processes, but probably is transforming the internet from a web browser-centric model to an ecosystem model in competition with mobile applications. Mobile refers a lot with the Internet of Everything. The third force is social computing, that refers to networks and behaviors dynamism. It's also related to the empowerment of individuals and is changing the operation models of organizations from hierarchical structures to communities, also inside the companies. And last but not least, the new information management. New approaches, usually we name these big data, but big data is looking ahead, not what we can do today, but what will happen next. This is the second event we can add digital disruption. What I mean for digital disruption, of course, IT is changing, but digital disruption for me is about identifying value that people need and delivering it. And we have the opportunity today to make it a lower cost with faster development time and with greater impact on user experience than anything that came before. We have some examples of digital disruption driven by organizations but also individuals. But digital disruption doesn't make by itself. It means that we must think about opportunity differently to make the difference. But we have the opportunity to do this because we have the technologies, we have lower cost, and we have supporting tools that we don't manage before. The fourth event is that we are approaching a new society. I used the words of Kevin Roberts, that is the CIO of Saatchi & Saatchi, that is one of the primary marketing companies in the world. And he says that we are moving from a VUCA world, and VUCA means volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, to a super VUCA world that is vibrant, unreal, crazy, and outstanding. We must look also at what changed the perspective of the people. And finally, of course, I'm very dealing with open source. We are in the era of openness. And openness means many things. It's not just open source distributing software with a different license model, but it means collaboration. It means transparency. Yesterday we talked about trust, and I think that, okay, we can debate what really trust is, but transparency is the core for trust and for reputation, for instance. Openness means value. In the open world, people share knowledge, share activity, share business to provide value. The basis of the open source model is not just to joke with software, but to provide new things. Open source is based on what we have in the internet today. So value is the focus of all of these elements and also of openness. And finally, freedom. Freedom means to have the freedom to operate in the digital context, but also it refers to empower people, to give freedom to people. So this connection of events give opportunities but also challenges. Just to look at big data, I am using two schema, two picture by Gartner. One refers to what is the big data technology, and the second about extreme information management system. You see that there are many factors. The famous various V of big data, value, volume, velocity, veracity, variability. I'm counting about 10 V for big data, but it means that there is an internal complexity. At the same time, we must deliver an external simplicity. People are looking for simplicity and for user experience. One of the effects is the gamification of business application. Also in some research projects, we are experimenting the new metaphor of games, electronic games, to give a major user, a more user experience to users and to make the result more effective. We are, of course, other challenges like security. I already mentioned what's happening in the world. But the key focus is about Velo. And we are dealing Velo through many innovation areas. The subject of this session, cloud, big data, Internet of Things, machine-to-machine, smart spaces. And my question is, how to generate new Velo from digitalization? Do we have the skill and the knowledge to generate Velo? Honestly, it's a vague question probably, but what I usually see in the IT domain, also in industry and many research projects, a great focus on technology and less focus on what we are delivering to whom, what we are doing, what the real Velo. I think it's a point that organization must reflect more. Some example of Velo. Big data space. There is a sort of architecture we are building in Trentino, in Italy. Trento is one of the six first nodes of the AT ICT labs in Europe. And this platform is complex, is about technology to manage the three scenarios of big data. Huge amount of heterogeneous data, structured and not structured, to manage streaming data, real-time analysis, and to manage semantic data, the meaning of the data, of the raw data you have in the internet, interpreting, using, of course, open data. But the core of this platform is to provide new value to the territory of Trentino, providing a sort of open data marketplace to users that they can grab data to build their own services, the services that fuel the business in the territory. So it's not the technology, the core, the technology is the value that this platform could provide. And when I go to industries, we have some initial projects on big data. The industry asks us to provide them data. It's a strange story. Also some telco industries are not able to manage their data because of a great organization. They don't know where are the data they manage. And many times we use open data as the mine to provide information to industries. And the second question for us is what we can do with this data. Please provide the use case. They don't have this. Another example in the cloud area is Choreos, for instance. It's a project of the Future Internet Initiative where OW2 is involved in dissemination, is to provide new choreographies on top of scalable choreographies on top of cloud infrastructure. And it is to provide great value to organization to handle new applications. But for citizens, other example, again in Trentino, it's a new user experience with complex mobile application. But the core is not to provide a new way of user experience, but to attract more and to involve more tourism in this area that is mainly devoted to tourism. Other examples are what's happening in the energy space, a smart grid, smart city, how to use the new source of energy without wasting, because you know that you have to store this energy and to provide when it's needed. What the role? Okay, I have a second question. We don't have issue about technology at all. With technology, we can do everything. Okay, something is easy, something not, but we can do everything. My question is, are the organizations that are driving innovation, or we just have to fuel innovation? I think that the answer is in the middle. In the European projects initiatives, organizations are building a vision, collaboration, selected initiative, scalable initiative. But there is a huge amount of innovation that is a bottom-up innovation, distributed initiative by people. So, in my opinion, the role of the stakeholders is to provide a platform. Platform is an horizontal base where you can plug, of course, vertical initiative. And platform of support. Support means to provide the tools to develop initiative, the forges, and this is an approach that is one of the new approach in the European context, to provide governance and to provide the communication platform to give sustainability to the results of the initiatives. In other words, the role of stakeholders is to prepare the environment and build the platform, stimulate creativity to help bring innovation to the market. Let me go back to the previous project, big feather issue, and something like this. In this space, I think, it's my personal opinion, we don't need, yesterday we debated about rules to harmonize different legislation, something else. We need something, but we don't need walled gardens. We need open gardens. I think the organization, and I'm in favor of net neutrality as much as possible, has to provide guidance instead of rules, have to focus on rights and duties on the internet, not to give strict rules, is to focus on education, in teaching how to use internet and technologies. And this is not it's an interesting topic, because a lot of people are not able to use internet consciously. When I deal with education in open source, every organization refers to university, because they refer to the new professional of IT. And in Italy, I'm starting to start an opportunity to start this activity from primary schools, because also to kids we can start to teach them how to use this digital world consciously, because they are using it. So, in a slogan, we don't need just smart cities or smart spaces, but we need also smart rules and smart education, not just legislation or very prescriptive rules. My last slide. I want to close the probably strange speech, because I am not dealing with the technology at all, with the words of Simon Phipps in an interview of 2007, old interview, dealing about open source. But I selected in the final part of this interview some key words, in my opinion. This new world, in this new world, we must work for influence instead of control, value instead power, participation instead distribution. In other words, we don't have to follow a prescriptive approach from design to release with control plans, but to a proactive approach to stimulate the proper digitalization of the world. The key word in all this speech is value. I think that technology is crucial. We must investigate what are the challenges we must solve, but we have a lot of means to solve these. Probably sometimes it takes time, but the key point is what are we providing to the world, to the business, to the market, to the public organization, to citizens. Thank you for your attention. It's try to stimulate some debates. I hope you appreciate it. Thank you.